Sure.
Yeah. Hi, who do we have here? What's your name and where are you from?
I'm Lisa, and I'm from Scarborough, and I'm staying at the Delta.
At the Delta. How old are you?
43.
And where are you originally from? Are you born and raised here?
Yep. I'm eighth generation Canadian.
Is it in Toronto or were you from
Scarborough.
Scarborough? Okay.
Yep.
I was gonna ask you, tell me a bit about your life, how from the beginning, how was your upbringing? Was it good? And
Normal. I had parents that had jobs and a house and a car, and everything was normal. And I settled down and got married and had kids. And then I got sick, so life fell apart. Because when you're sick and you can't take care of kids, it gets hard, and then you can't do it.
yeah.
So you get pushed out of everything because you get cut off your money when you're on disability and you can't afford rent, and then now you're not a mommy, basically.
Yeah. So are you staying right now? Did they give you shelter at the Delta?
Yeah, I'm staying at the Delta.
Yeah.
It is infested with so many bed bugs and cockroaches that it's disgusting. They're crawling all over the walls and nobody does anything. And everybody's getting chewed up by it. And they say that they spray, but they come in and do something, but it doesn't seem to fix the problem. Because I've dealt with it 2 or 3 times now, and nothing's better.
And how long have you been there?
Since September.
September just gone, yeah?
Yeah.
Are they going to find you a location somewhere to live, or?
It doesn't really seem like they're doing much to have that happen. They don't really help you. They just kind of shuffle you around. And they don't really give you a lot of hope because they tell you it's like a 12 to 14 year wait to get any type of subsidized housing.
And I heard it's going to close down. What are they going to do?
It is. They gave us a notice in February saying by next February they're closing because it's going to become only for refugees.
Yeah.
So they're going to kick us all out.
Yeah.
I also lived at the Novotel, which is the same company.
Yeah.
How that went is they said they were going to close December 31st. And starting the middle of November, they would walk up to people's doors. And when you have a space, it's like a bachelor apartment. You buy stuff and you have things because you're trying to live and be normal.
Yeah.
So they give you about an hour to pack your stuff. And then they say, okay, you can come back and get your stuff. But they never let you back in your room and you never see your stuff again. They just throw it in the garbage.
Wow.
And then they put me on the street.
And I was going to ask you as well, there's everyone that I speak to, they tell me there's a lot of overdose deaths in that location.
Yep. My friend just died yesterday. Yeah. His street name was Columbia. He did not do fentanyl, but somehow somebody hot-shotted him and he's dead now. And that happens often. The scary statistic is more people have died at the Delta or been murdered than people have got housing.
That's the stats, yeah?
That's the scary part.
And he was hot-shotted, you said?
Yeah, which means somebody put it in something of his because he does not do fentanyl. Or they said, here, this is the drug you do. And it was fentanyl and he died.
And I was going to ask you about this fentanyl situation. It's obviously a big thing in the community.
It's scary as hell.
Now, are you on any drugs? Do you take it sometimes?
I do stimulants, but I do not do fentanyl at all.
What's stimulants? What's that?
Like cocaine.
Okay.
That's a stimulant.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can't really afford that. It's not the same thing. Okay. When people are on fentanyl, they have to have it, or they're sick.
Okay.
Because they suffer from withdrawal. And it's like they have stomach flu, and they're puking, and they have diarrhea, and they're shaking, and they can die from it.
Wow.
It's scary. Yeah. And even when they're on it, it's like they're using a medical coma. They're putting themselves in a medical coma. They have no idea what's happening around them.
Wow.
Like they can fall asleep holding a cigarette or a lighter or a torch and set themselves on fire and burn everything, and they don't even know what's happening. It's just like when you go to the doctor for surgery.
It's taken over the nation, hasn't it?
It is all over because even when I went to Kitchener, Waterloo, Aurelia, and Belleville, everybody was on crystal meth and fentanyl at like all the bus stations and everywhere. And in small town Ontario, it's not the same at all anymore.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's a huge epidemic. It's crazy.
Obviously it's taken over heroin and crack.
Heroin is like not ever seen anymore hardly. Like people would prefer it because it's safer.
Yeah.
What I'm told, because I don't do it, but that's what people tell me.
Yeah.
And everybody is all about Tina, but Tina causes if there's a history of mental illness in your family genetics, it brings on the onset of it early because it causes black matter in your brain. And if you are prone to a mental health issue, it makes that happen. And it's the only drug that causes the black matter in your brain. So it eats holes in your brain, basically.
Wow. And Tina, that's what it's called on the show?
Crystal meth. Crystal meth, that's what that is.
Okay.
Apparently Hitler invented it to make super soldiers.
I don't know. I've got no idea. I was gonna also ask you, do you have kids, family, and stuff?
I have no parents, but I have kids.
Okay.
But they're 4 hours away, so I don't get to see them.
You don't get to see them?
No.
Okay.
I miss them more than anything.
No, hopefully you're like, because you do seem like a good person. You're still mentally cognitive. Like you still got your wits about you.
I tried. Sometimes I think the reason why ended up God made me homeless is I save all kinds of people's lives.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the one that's falling asleep on fentanyl, and I stop people from getting robbed, and I stop people from getting raped because I stand in, and sometimes it's scary, but I just can't let that happen to people.
Yeah, I understand.
And I feel proud that I learned how to do CPR when I was 12 and 16, and then I learned about naloxone, and I saved a lot of lives.
And when was the last time you saved a life? Do you remember?
About 6 weeks ago.
What happened? Can you just elaborate?
The person that I was with when I came out of the bathroom was laying on the floor and turning blue.
Yeah.
With his eyes rolled back in his head.
Yeah.
And he wasn't breathing at all, and he was cold.
And what did you give him?
I gave him naloxone, nasal naloxone, and CPR.
Yeah. And
I gave him 3 naloxones in total. You have to give it 5 minutes apart. Yeah. And he started breathing again.
Okay.
It's a very, very rewarding feeling.
When you save lives.
It's humbling. You know, it feels really good.
If you had 2 wishes, what would your 2 wishes be?
If housing was more accessible for people, and if there was never no fentanyl. Okay. I've lost over 400 people. Okay. My family, friends, people that I love.
Okay.
And people use it as chemical warfare on each other.
So those are your 2 wishes?
Yep.
Okay, I was also going to ask you if, what do you think the government can do in this situation? What do you think they can do in order to help this within the homelessness situation?
They need to have more mental health help.
Yeah?
Yeah, and like if people get arrested because they're drug addicts, putting them in jail doesn't teach them to be any different. Yeah. Putting them in rehab type situations and dealing with the mental health issues of people. Because when the government changed everything, they took everybody who has all different problems and put us all together in shelters, so they just pick on each other and can't get along. When there's people that aren't taking their medication and they're having full-time mental health, craziness, I don't know the other word. They're screaming at their top lungs and reliving they're reliving the psychosis, terrible things that have happened to them. They're talking it out in their heads, but that's triggering everybody else, and then the addicts start using more, and it just is like a full circle that just keeps triggering.
So do you think they should separate them, and anyone who needs help with their mental issues should be housed somewhere else?
They should, because they need medical help all the time. They need to be watched so that way if they're a violent person or a schizophrenic person, they can't tell the difference, that they're monitored all the time, and that way it's safe.
Yeah, and
because it's not safe when you take somebody who is violent and unmedicated and an addict who has no patience and putting them in a room in a lineup waiting hours where they won't even serve you the damn food. You know, they bully me.
Wow.
And it's terrible.
So tell me, how do they treat you in there? Because you were just saying a bit off camera.
Well, if the maids come and they don't want to come into my room, they are supposed to leave stuff for me at the office. Half the time I go there and I have a face cloth and shampoo but no towel and 1 toilet paper roll for a week. The food is gross. It is always undercooked and slimy and goes bad super fast. If you leave it on your counter overnight, it is not edible fast. That's how you know it's not healthy food. My room, when I went in there was not 1 single drawer, not 1 single shelf. My bathroom wall was just ripped down with drywall over top. It looks like a crack trap house that got raided and set on fire, and I'm supposed to live in there, and there's holes in the wall and writing all over. It looks like a scary movie in my room.
Oh, there's holes in the wall and writing on the wall?
All over, graffiti, and half the walls ripped off, and it's scary looking. It looks like a house that's run down and closed. Wow. And the water is not good, and it is not clean, and there's black mold under the carpet if you lift it up, and the wallpaper, same thing if you lift it up, because there's been a lot of fires, and it's an older building, and we're all breathing that in. I feel like it's Darwinism. They're forcing us to be extinct. Because they know that we're costing the government a lot of money, because we have issues, whether it's mental health or drug abuse or addiction issues, and it's making it that we're dying off fast. We're Generation X.
Wow.
It's totally Darwinism. I'm educated. I went to the University of Toronto.
No, you do sound educated. What's your education background?
I went to University of Toronto downtown at Woodworth College. I had English Literatures and minor, and I took sociology and criminology is my double major.
And now you're forced, because I seen you looking in the bin, and now you're forced.
Yeah, because I want to see if there's something cool that I can have. Because everything costs too much.
Exactly.
And even when you're on ODSP or OW, nobody can live off $200 or $300 a month. That's what they give you. How can you live off that?
Oh my.
Like by the time you take bus fare, like if you're healthy, like I'm physically not well, but if you're a healthy person that's looking for a job, even bus fare is $3.25 each way, and it's only good 2 hours. You can't live off $300. It's impossible.
I was also gonna ask you, like, how do you wake up every morning knowing that you're in the same situation? Like, what gives you the courage to carry on?
My babies. I want to get to them.
Okay.
That's what makes me fight.
That's what makes you carry on every day, yeah?
No matter how bad it is or what bad happens, I want to get back to them.
No, don't cry. You eventually you just carry on being strong.
It's hard because there's some scary people in there. Like they're killing people, and it never makes the news. And murders are happening. They're purposely killing people.
And it doesn't get investigated because.
Well, the crazy part is the police are even sitting in the office at the front lobby, but they're just sitting there doing nothing. They're not checking anything out, and they're not investigating. And my friends, like, every week, like, a couple people are dying, and it's people are killing them over stupid stuff like they owe a bit of drug money or they didn't get along, so they just take the fentanyl and put it in. They could put it in your coffee and it would kill you. It is extremely potent. It's made for large animal tranquilizers. And carfentanil is like, you know, in Jurassic Park, the movie, they say, get the carfentanil. Yeah. Something that big. We're not elephants or dinosaurs. It's not made for us.
You just need a little bit and it will take you down.
That's scary.
And it's not being investigated because they think no one loves you guys, no one cares for them, and
because they figure that it's just going to cost money and we don't matter. It's sad as fuck. Wow. People matter. Doesn't matter what you are. We all matter.
Exactly.
You know, we all came out of a woman. We all have a heart that beats, and we all bleed the same. And the way that the world and the government is treating us is just disgusting.
And everyone deals with trauma differently, right? Some turn to drugs because of what they've experienced.
You need an escape. It's self-medication.
Yeah. So
I've had a lot of trauma in my life. A lot of abusive, crazy situations that I don't even want to get into. Yeah. But when it PTSDs you or other people PTSD you, it's hard for you to feel all that because it's like you're really happening all over again.
Wow.
And then it gives you anxiety and when violent things happen to you and you're not the cause of it, it just always makes you think, why did this happen to me? And you feel lost. You know?
Yeah, it's sad. I was gonna also mention to you like they don't a bit of, like, can you elaborate a bit about this place, the Delta? Like you said, obviously like
something as simple as doing laundry. They give us laundry bags, and then we have to get large bags that look like garbage bags from the office. And we put our clothes in the bag that looks like the garbage bag, and then the regular big laundry bag. They won't even give me those to do my laundry, so I'm forced, as much as I'm disabled with, I have rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, like, it hurts me to do stuff. That's why I'm rocking back and forth. I'm in pain all the time, but I still don't take opiates. I gotta wash my clothes in my bathtub most of the time, because I can't be bothered to get up and give me a soap bag. That's sad. Or when you bring the laundry down at dinner time, they act like we're bothering them to get up and do their job. And when people end up doing fentanyl by accident and they're smart enough to naloxone themselves right away, when it happened to me, I was so scared because I thought I was going to die. They told me to sit down on the floor, put my head back and close my eyes and wait for the paramedics. But that's the worst thing you can do. That's what kills you. If that happens to you, you have to keep moving because once you sit down, you're done. And then your heart stops. Because you have to keep moving so it stimulates you. Because it's meant to not stimulate you. It's just like a vet's office or surgery. There's the part where you're not awake but you can't feel what's happening. And then there's euthanasia and you're dead. That's what that stuff is.
Yeah, that's so sad.
It's scary as fuck, man.
And like I've heard stories of overdoses inside their room. People that literally have overdosed in their room, and no one's found them for like a few days.
Yeah, and they're for days because they're like beside the bed or they're got blankets on them, and because we don't have furniture, all our stuff is on piles on the floor. So how can you see people and check on them? And they're supposed to check on people that they know are fentanyl addicts or really abusive situations in couples. And sometimes they come every hour or two, and sometimes they don't come for 5 or 6 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like one person I know, I keep saying to staff, can you please go check on them to make sure, because I know when they're using. And I've also figured out and I've not heard this from doctors, but it's just from my experience in watching, anybody who has sleep apnea or problems with sleeping, they use fentanyl, they nod off faster than everybody else and stop breathing faster than everybody else.
Because it's obviously called a tranquilizer, right?
And if you already have trouble breathing because of sleep apnea and you fall asleep all the time anyways, you fall asleep for sure. And then it affects them differently, and they die way faster than everybody else, like more overdoses.
What about the women that are in there? Like since you're a woman, do you feel safe in there?
No. Staff when they come check us, if I'm asleep, I wake up all the time with my door unlocked and wide open. It's like they're leaving us there for a target.
So they don't lock it back?
No, because they have a fob when they come in, and when they leave, they forget or they don't put the fob back on. And I also know other places like this that girls I know that have rooms by themselves, they wake up and male staff is in there masturbating or trying to rape them. It's scary as fuck.
It's happened in there, yeah?
It happens a lot.
Do you know Lindsay?
I don't know.
I spoke to a Lindsay. She says she doesn't feel safe in there. And
it's not safe.
She's better off living outside.
It feels safer because there are all the people that want to do bad things to you are all sitting there waiting, and staff doesn't stop it from happening. When I lived there before, staff opened the door and saw me being abused, and they said, "Get up and walk over to me." And I can't get up and walk over. I'm being beaten up. And then they just closed the door.
Oh, so they didn't even intervene?
They did fucking nothing. I don't get it. Like, girls are abused. People are forced to do things, hand over their whole checks. Like, it is a scary situation to be in.
Dog eat dog world in there.
It is, yeah. That's what I mean by Darwinism. Like, it's survival of the fittest. You gotta be able to keep your head up and
What about those bumblebee guys? Those guys with the yellow jacket?
They're actually, no, the two brothers that opened the company, because when I was first homeless, I was at 25 Augusta, which was a respite.
Yeah.
And it's closed down now. But they walk a kilometer in the area because we have to sign papers saying we won't cause problems in the area, the neighborhood. But at the same time, the ironic and contradictory part is they say you're not allowed to smoke or do drugs in your room, but they hand out needles to encourage it. So needles they push, but you're not allowed to smoke anything, but then you're not allowed to come outside to do drugs. So it's like an oxymoron. How is it making sense?
Why give out the needles in the first place?
They give needles. They're saying basically you can't smoke drugs in here and you can't do drugs any other way, and no smoking weed, which is legal, right? Yeah. And they're saying, here, take the needles, but don't smoke anything, but if you go outside and do it in the neighborhood, then you're discharged as well back on the street. And then you lose all your stuff because they throw it in the garbage.
How long have you been altogether homeless?
I'm going on my 6th year.
6th year. And within that 6th year, what's the worst thing that you've seen that sticks to mind?
How they just have no respect for us at all. And they just think that we're not even worth anything. And they abuse their power to the point that if you're hungry and you miss the dinner time and 150 meals go up to the office, sometimes they would, when I was with my boyfriend in places, they would give me a meal but not him, or him a meal and not me, or they would deny people food and then throw all the meals in the garbage and tell us to take it out of the garbage like we're worse than on the street. Like, we don't want to take a meal out of a garbage. Nobody wants to do that. But for a shelter to demean you and make you do that, they could put it on a table and you could just pick it up like a human being should. They shouldn't put it in a garbage bag like a bag of slop and put it all together and that's where they tell us to go eat.
Wow.
That's so disgustingly horrible.
Do they favor people? They
do. They let some people away with everything and other people they pick on. I get picked on a lot.
And that's because obviously the people unfortunately always go for the vulnerable, and that's what it is, right?
And no matter what culture or race it is, if it's all one race and there's other smaller amounts of the race, racism shows up. Exactly. It does. This is all the homelessness and all the drug culture stuff is making racism worse.
And you said something about how the staff are a bit racist in there.
Yeah, they pick and choose. Yeah, I feel like they pick on me all the time, or they don't give me a towel, or they give him stuff but not me stuff, and it's not fair. I'm there in the same situation as everybody else. Why should I not get what I need, or why should I not get food?
In fact, they need to be looking after women a bit more because they're more vulnerable,
We
right?
need help.
Yeah, the
You know,
women.
and especially when men are bullying you and trying to force you to have sex, and a lot of girls get prostituted in this situation that are young girls. It's scary as hell.
Have
Like
you seen those guys that are living in the tent over there, James and stuff?
yeah, I know them.
You know them, right?
I know them for a few years.
Yeah. They're forced to live outside, aren't they?
Yeah, they got kicked out. Brandy and Mo that are there.
Yeah.
My boyfriend just saved Mo's life the other day.
How? What happened?
He overdosed in the tent.
Who did?
Mo and Brandy. He's a Somalian
Yeah,
guy.
I know. Mo overdosed?
Mo did, and my boyfriend saved his life.
When?
Like 8 days ago.
Is Mo still there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And he overdosed, yeah?
He overdosed right away, and the crazy part is none of us could find the naloxone because we kept picking up empty cases because people look at it and then don't put it back properly. And we finally found it, and then everything was okay. But it's scary as hell.
He just got released from jail, didn't he, Mo?
Yeah.
How is his leg? Is it infected or?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but a lot of people, it seems like when they're really heavy users and fentanyl users, they can't fight infection.
Yeah, they can't.
Their body's not fighting infection, and they don't have the means to take care of it, especially when you're living on the street.
Exactly. Obviously, it will get infected.
I feel like the government's putting something in the drugs to fuck us up more. It's deteriorating people. A lot of people are getting sepsis like crazy, and that never used to happen. And it's like a big pussy infection on your body all of a sudden, and it just keeps going. And then it spreads, and then it just becomes like rotted meat. That's not normal. It's like, it looks like the living dead. Like that. It's scary. Okay. It's not normal. Like, why would the government... Cocaine is bad, but it comes from a plant, and it can give people heart attacks. Fentanyl and crystal meth are pure chemicals, which are just going to eat you away. They eat you away faster.
And obviously, with Mo and them, they lived there during this winter.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the conditions? I
was outside last winter with nowhere to go.
Where did you sleep?
Anywhere I could.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend and we literally were carrying everything we could in the freezing cold snow. And because of COVID, we couldn't stand anywhere, and you couldn't use the bathroom. And all the shelters were full, and then they let more refugees in, and they had the warming centers. And you literally have nowhere to go. Like, all the doors, half the door frames. Spadina Station, the streetcar, became a shelter in itself.
Wow.
They had police there every night, and there would be 50 people fighting over if they could get a bench at Spadina Station or a piece of ice-cold floor.
And what about the respite places and all that?
They're hell.
They're the same. They're not safe.
Even when they have a warming center, the staff doesn't watch over you at all. Anybody can do anything to you. I've gone to some of them and fallen asleep because I'm exhausted and not sleep for days, and I wake up and everything I own is gone. The staff just watches and doesn't give a fuck. They don't stop it. They don't. But at the same time, I feel like the staff of these places need to be trained properly because they don't know how to revive people with naloxone. They don't know CPR. Most of the time, it is temp agencies with a lot of new immigrants where there's a language barrier, and if they don't understand what people are saying to them, what's happening, they need help, and they don't have the means to do it, and they don't know how to save people's lives or be equipped. They're not equipped to do the job that they do because nobody is making that happen. It's like if I just took you and threw you in there, you wouldn't know what to do if somebody was having a psychosis breakdown.
Exactly.
Because you've never been in that situation. Yeah, and that's the problem because social work, that's why I took sociology too. Social work is something that the government just let go. It just said, who cares? Let's see what happens. It'll cost us less money because there used to be way more different types of help for each specific thing that was happening in the world. But it's like
Cam H. What are they doing? Cam H. Are they?
Cam H.
Do they help or?
I don't really know. I've never been involved with Cam H. But it seems like they just want to have people come there for a few days, pump them full of drugs, and put them right back on the street. They're not progressing anything for anybody.
Are you taking any medication, like mentally or anything?
No, I just take blood pressure meds and Lyrica for my pain.
Just your regular health meds.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. For your younger self, what advice would you have gave yourself, the younger you, knowing that?
To listen to my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always knew the wrong people for me to be around, but you never want to listen because you think your friends are worth everything.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a teenager. And it was just, I don't know. My younger self, I would have said, don't listen to people that are trying to get you to do drugs because you're too young.
Yeah.
And I was.
And how young were you when you started?
13.
13. What was your first drug?
Marijuana.
And then it just progressed.
Yeah.
And
then I studied to do drugs for a long time, and then when everything became terrible, and I lost faith in humanity. Because if you're a struggling mom, and you're sick and you get no help, because even though the SP did it wrong, if I had help in the mornings and the evenings with my children, I would have been able to stay a family.
Exactly.
But they didn't do that. They just said, okay, you're sick, you're going to lose your apartment without your kids, so we're going to put them somewhere else. And they stayed with my sister, and now they're with my in-laws and their dad. But they need a mom. Kids need a mom. It's not fair.
And sorry to cut you off. And for my younger audience, what advice would you give them? Not younger, but my audience that can be in the situation.
Stay in school, pay your rent, and don't do drugs.
Yeah.
That's it, because everybody thinks about having Adidas and Gucci shoes, but nobody thinks about bills and future. And just because weed's legal and it's the gateway drug doesn't mean it's right. It changes your mind.
And that's what you said. You said at 13 you started using weed cannabis, and then after you progressed, was it cocaine?
Mushrooms and LSD.
Yeah.
And Quaaludes. It's just forget because everybody wants to get girls high because they can sleep with them.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. It's a sad reality of life. And then I worked in the bar industry for like 28 years.
Okay. So you obviously, you were young.
I've had a great life and a terrible life all at the same time.
At the same time. The good thing with you is you're mentally cognitive. You know what I mean? And that's the most precious thing that you can have right now.
Because I take breaks away from it.
Yeah.
You have to walk away. Like it's hard to sleep in there because there's people screaming and kicking walls and fights happening, and so you have to just walk away from your own sanity. Normalize yourself.
Wow, man, this fentanyl situation is obviously...
It's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Everyone that I speak to has someone they care about or a loved one that passed away. Or...
It's so hard to watch. I've lost over 400 people.
Wow.
Like, all kinds of kids from school, my distant cousins, and people are hot-shotting them, and nobody does goddamn nothing. Like, it's like, I don't like the way that your air freshener is, and you owe me $10, so I'm gonna kill you. Like, what the hell? Life is precious. Like, we're your babies. I know that. No, it's like, that's why I said I feel like I lost faith in humanity. People aren't pleasant anymore. They can't be so civil to each other. And they all just think about their personal gain now.
Wow.
It's sad reality.
If you was to put a number on the amount of fentanyl deaths that happen in that